Howdy, howdy, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Hell. It's me, Robinson, and I'm recently started learning Russian because the ghost of Vladimir Putin is haunting me.
Говорите по-русски?
Team это Dima. That means Tim. Tim, this is Dima.
No, I know. I know. Just like, who the fuck is Tim? Who is Dima?
Это
Что
мой
Dima?
дом.
Playing dom.
God damn.
Also, yeah.
This is harder than I thought.
This is hard. Lichne. Oh, I'm sorry. I just, what is it? I don't use Russian very often. I could read Russian, but it's one of those of like, if I were to go into a conversation with a full-blown person, I'd just be like, one of the fourth-year Spanish students would be like, ¿qué pasó? Like, just not. It kind of be like that, but I can read
It's
Russian
actually
pretty
not
well,
that
but
difficult
still.
because it's like you just gotta swap the letters. Like N is I.
Well, there used to be this joke because I had a teacher at Baylor who taught Russian, right? And she said that Russian is a heavenly language because even when you die and go to heaven, you're still learning the finite. Like,
What does that mean?
Of Russian. So it means that like it may seem easy, but there are different regions and different locations, and they all have different grammatical rules and everything. So, for instance, like to say "fuck you." You have close to like 130 different variations across Russia, because Russia is like a sixth of the size of the planet, right? The landmass of the planet. So it's got a ton of different locations and varieties, and because of that, like there's different like speech patterns for Russian, right? So there never really is truly like one Russian kind of like language. Like you can understand Russian across the different places, but the way that they do it is pretty different. So most of the time, people in the U.S. or the U.S. learn Moscow Russian, right? That kind of regional.
I'm
dialect.
learning Duolingo Russian, so when I go to Duolingo,
which is Moskvy, which is Moscow dialect, right? my teacher had Ukrainian dialect, right? So, because they teach both Ukrainian and Russian, which is like the difference between Spanish and Italian. But they speak it with like the Ukrainian accent, so there you go.
Well, thank you for that lesson in Russian. But before we go any further, introduce yourself too for the new people here.
I know, and it's me, Stanley, Slayer of Demons, Bolitarian Hero, and Quieter of the Sleeping One. I don't know, being kind of like a Dark Soulsy Miyazaki kind of fucking shit, dude. I'm so ready for Elden Ring, like just
So
I don't know.
You finally got your PS5, right? So you've been playing Demons?
Mm-hmm.
You've been playing
Demon
Demon
Souls?
Souls?
Yeah, I got it in last week. Yeah, I've been... 100%. So I've been playing Demon Souls because it was the first game that I got because I wanted to like get my credit card in before the PlayStation dropped so I didn't have any trouble. And it came the day before, and then the PlayStation came, and then it was like, it's just been Demon Souls. The coolest thing about the PlayStation 5 is that when I transferred all my data, not only does the PlayStation 5 go to 5 gigahertz like Wi-Fi signal, but it also transferred all my passwords and everything from my PS4 into my PS5. So I didn't have to remember any of my passwords that I have for like Netflix or that kind of stuff. I just did it.
That
right?
is so nice, actually. Because I got a new phone recently. Putting in every password is a nightmare.
Plus, getting a PlayStation 5, they actually have you get an upgraded version of a select PlayStation Plus games, and Bloodborne is one of them. So after Demon Souls, I'm actually going to see if I'll like trying Bloodborne, because I've beaten Bloodborne before, but it was such in a time where I was so stressed out, and I was in college, and I was in whatever, that I don't remember playing much of it, right? Because it was kind of a way to like take away from my finals or my paper or anything like that. So it's exciting to actually like be in for the story because I love the goth atmosphere. I love that kind of aesthetic.
And
so we'll see how that
speaking
goes.
of 5G,
But,
this is a real story. And I just pulled it up because you reminded me. There was an anti-5G, pendant for those for those free thinkers, for those liberal minds that like want to make sure that the 5G can't control their brains. And it actually causes radiation damage to your body.
No, yeah, I saw that. I saw that and I was just like, well, that's the only way. Like, unless you have a Faraday cage around you, you're not going to be like getting rid of 5G radio waves, right? So like the radiation necklaces are fucking hilarious. It's one of those like, just get your fucking vaccine, just do whatever, dude. Don't freak out about 5G, because if 5G were actually like harmful for us, we would know pretty quickly.
Well, it's right? Actually the smartest move, and this is what you don't understand, Stanley, because the government can't control your body if your body has deteriorated all the way.
No, they can. They can move you as a pile of mush from one place to another. No, we need more
necklaces.
Give me more necklaces. Dude, it's nothing like, it's just basically like, what is it? A lot of this stuff has been happened before, but like, conservatives used to make fun of like liberals because they believed in like the goop, like Gwyneth Paltrow goop kind of bullshit. Where
used
it's, like,
to. I still make fun of anybody who uses whatever. Goop.
No, no, I do too, because 100%. She's a scam artist, allegedly, right? And it makes products that are harmful to people. And essentially what is happening is that the conspiracy world is getting their own kind of goop stuff, right? So it's funny to see how they were like shitting on like quirky liberals for doing goop shit. Now they're doing goop shit. I can
guarantee there is not a vagina on this planet that smells like that candle.
Dude, I don't even know about that candle. I'm just not. I mean, no one's ever like, hey, do you want to smell the musk of like you want your house to smell like a brothel?
My homie got one, and it just smells like vanilla. It smells quite nice, and that's how. Exactly.
Dude, no vagina smells like that.
No human smells like that. Speaking of smells, Naruto is having a TV anime 20th anniversary, and they released a visual for that, so that's going to be exciting for Naruto fans.
Oh?
Because it looks like, the rumor is it's going to be a movie with, well, this is just a rumor, there's nothing behind it, but the community thinks it might be a movie with young Naruto and Minada, like a what if his dad didn't die. Which might be nice. In other anime news, you remember the movie Your Name and Weathering with You? Yeah, the director, Makoto Shinaki, he's wait, Shinkai. Is it Shinkai?
It's Makoto Shinkai. Huh. Yeah.
Then this article is incorrect.
Yeah. No, it's Makoto Shinkai, right? Like that's
No, wait, I'm fact checking you. Your Name director. I'm fact checking you because we got to keep each other honest. Oh my god, you're right. Well, shame on you, Kotaku. And Makoko.
I know.
God damn
Makoto.
It. He has Shinkai has
Shinkai,
a new film
right?
announced for 2022. Suzume no Tojimari.
Yeah, no, I saw that, and I'm actually like really interested because it's one of his first ones that he's not like including a romance in, because all of his other like stuff has been either really sad or really romantic, or sometimes both, right? Like 8 centimeters per second is one of those movies that it is a gut punch. No matter how many times you watch it, you will never become numb to it. And there's even one about like him creating an a movie about a cat, right? And the cat dies in the end, right? So obviously it's like great. It's like Marley and Me. But
the Cat Returns, featuring guest director. So Suzume no Tojimari is going to be a sci-fi film set in a post-apocalyptic world. And the thing with post-apocalyptic worlds is that we've seen. Can you hear my dog in the back? Let me let her out.
I can hear him.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry about that, folks. That was the most violent licking of an ass that I've ever seen in my life.
Dude, she gotta get in there. She gotta clean it.
Absolutely. We could learn something from that. But the thing with post-apocalyptic worlds is that they've been done over and over and over and over and over again. So I honestly want to see what he can come up with. Maybe something different, something special.
I don't know, like, what is it? The last movie that he did, Weathering with You, was a pretty post-apocalyptic kind of thing, right? Because it's almost like subtle hints at like a relationship, but in the time of like climate change. And so this one might be interesting for, I don't know. I'm a fan of any of his movies, so the animation style is fucking gorgeous, and he knows how to hit the music just right. And those are two things, like visual and auditory, like stimulus, just it makes movies for me, right? It's one of the reasons why I like Wes Anderson movies. So, Makoto Shinkai is pretty good at that, so I'm excited. But when is it coming out?
We have no clue. It is in production.
Oh, okay. Well, it takes time to make art,
or
right?
did I say
So,
2022? I think I might have said 2022. I already closed out of the article because I'm a fool.
Okay.
What
Cool.
about you?
Man, do you know what else was a fool? So do you like Bob's Burgers?
I freaking love Bob's Burgers. I
one
discovered
of my least favorite characters on that show is Jimmy Pesto, but go ahead. Like, sorry. Go do it.
So I discovered that show like during the pandemic, and I finished it within a month, and I was so upset.
Yeah, dude, like that show is so good. Like it's
so
one of
funny.
those, and it's like one of the very few TV shows that shows like a functional marriage, right? Like all the other TV shows are just like, ha ha ha, dad's stupid, ha, mom's picky, but they love each other. Isn't that cute? Kind of thing. But no, they show realistic anticipation. Well, I hate Jimmy Pesto, like Bob does, but one of the things.
Hey, Bob.
Yeah. So here's the deal, right? I am going to relate two completely different things, but I want you to like kind of see like if you can follow where I'm going. So January 6th, the Capitol riot happened, right?
Okay.
And there have been numerous alleged rioters that have been picked up and charged by feds, and several major MAGA personalities have been barred with subpoenas and extensive lawsuits. So this was a failed coup attempt on the United States. And, what we see is that just because Donald Trump managed to escape responsibility for the January 6th doesn't mean that Jimmy Pesto did. One of the alleged January 6th participants who was paid some sort of price for the violent events of the day is none other than actor and comedian Jay Johnston, whose credits is basically a beloved TV series like Mr. Show, Arrested Development, and helped write Anchorman. So, according to two people familiar with the matter, top staff at the long-running animated sitcom Bob's Burgers are no longer allowing Johnston to voice his recurring character Jimmy Pesto Sr. on the critically TV show. One of the sources described it as a ban. The other individual familiar with the matter described the situation similarly, adding that the Bob's Burgers cast and crew, as well as Fox, were not looking to make a big deal about the current blacklisting of the apparent insurrection attendee. So, yeah, dude, Johnston apparently was over at the Capitol during the Capitol riot and was identified on a number of videos.
Well, you know what? I can guarantee that's what Jimmy Pesto would have done. That man was in love with his character. I can 100% see him at the riots.
Yeah. And it just, there it is, right? So I guess Jimmy Pesto, right?
Jimmy Jr.'s there. He doesn't want to be there, but he's there wearing like an Italian Braveheart.
Yeah. So Tim Heidecker from Tim and Eric Show, Awesome Job, Great Job, or Awesome Show, Great Job, which is one of my favorite TV shows, tweeted to the FBI that the man in the FBI poster that they were looking for was Johnston, and even tweeted at the FBI like, "Oh yeah, it's Jay."
We can tweet at the FBI?
Yeah, dude. The FBI has their own Twitter account.
I'm gonna send them a butt pic.
Yeah.
Nothing nude. It's just my ass and jeans.
Yeah. You just be like, "Can you arrest this?" And they'll be like, "Yes, we can. 100%. We totally could."
They just reply with my IP address.
Yeah, dude.
That's kind of wild.
Yeah.
To be completely frank. I guess I'm laughing because it's like it's not that big a deal. Like, sure, he lost. They can find Because like I'm pretty sure when they were casting Bob's Burgers, the casting list just said Italian jackass. I'm pretty sure they can find somebody else who can fill that role pretty well.
Yeah, dude. Why don't they just get Gilbert Godfrey to start voicing Jimmy
hell
Pesto?
yeah! Like if you said this was John H. Benjamin, Bob himself, also Archer from the show Archer, I would have been sad.
No,
I love that man so much.
It's just one of those things of like it's weird how there are a ton of like liberal-minded people in Hollywood, and then like the silent conservative people in Hollywood too.
They
So
need to be
it's-
silent, or else they're castrated in public.
No, or else they lose their fucking job, right?
I mean, that's true.
Trying to plan sedition against the United States, I feel like is a fireable offense. Don't get me wrong about that one, right? Like that's like
Yeah.
I'm not a lawyer, but I think that that's probably a good thing to do, even though the network that they're on, Fox, right, is a perpetuator of like misinformation. So obviously, not a fan of that either. But hey, whatever, right? It's not like I really have any control over what they do, but still. So, yeah, dude, it looks like Jimmy Pesto's going in the fryer.
I wonder if they're gonna like make a canonical TV reason why Jimmy Pesto's no longer there, and if they do, I hope he finds like an Italian broad that like sweeps him away, and now they have to adopt Jimmy Jr., and that's a weird dynamic for Tina. Hell yeah! See, I should be a writer.
Yeah, because you know that Tina would be into it, right? That forbidden romance.
I honestly think that like knowing Tina, because we have such a personal connection, I guess, it would be yes at first, but then guess what? Incest. Now it's weird.
But I feel like she would be into that, right? That forbidden
God.
love. No, I'm not joking. I feel like she would, because
No,
that's the whole
because-
thing is that she's a horse girl, right? And she writes fan fiction about friends, right?
I was gonna
Friend
say
fiction.
she writes fan fictions about zombies touching butts.
And that's it. It's like the perfect middle schooler kind of like fan fiction, right? That's like the most sexual a middle schooler can ever get is that person is just like, okay, so you're touching no spot. That's it. And they don't know about any of the other. So
And
I don't know, man.
Speaking of zombies, we have a news story that I am actually livid about, like actually kind of angry.
What?
Okay, so Stanley, a man that I looked up to my entire life, right? Because Marvel was such an important part of my childhood. Yeah, that's a correct word. You know, being a nerd, and growing like today, being a nerd is cool, right? But as a kid, you will get picked on no matter what you're into, right?
Yeah.
And Spider-Man was always my favorite. That's just like a really deep emotional connection I have with Marvel Comics and all those properties because I grew up with that, right? It's the same thing with Nintendo. And as I grew older, you know, you get a deeper appreciation for things because then you can start to understand and see what makes it so great. And then I remember I was on the school bus. I think I was like 17, 16 or something when I learned that Stanley died. And I was legit upset, right? But no worries. Lived a great life. May he rest in peace, all that. And then he came back from the grave. I don't think Stanley has, like the Stanley Twitter account has not tweeted since his death other than, you know, in memoriam, blah, blah, blah. But in an act of defiance against all gods, no matter who you believe in, Marvel decided it would be a good idea to, I don't know, hack into Stan Lee's Twitter account to promote a fucking NTF. An NFT.
NFT. Yeah.
Yep.
I saw that and I was like, why? Who
From
cares, right? He's passed, right? He shouldn't be able to promote this.
you shouldn't be using a dead man's Twitter to promote a money laundering scheme.
Oh, 100%. I also think that like, what is it? You should have your copyright until you die, right? Like, that's one of the other big things about it is if you created a character or create something like that and then you pass away, then your copyright is gone, right? But
Honestly, yeah,
yeah,
that would make sense. But everybody would
yeah,
have Marvel. Oh, that'd be fun.
yeah.
But
No, it's weird because, like, what is it? He died in 2018.
yeah,
It's not even been that long since he passed away, even though that was 4 years ago, November 12th, right?
Mm-hmm.
So wait, that's only 3 years. So I don't really understand why, other than they're just trying to make money, right? Because that's it. But they're trying to make money on a scam off of something that is really easy to scam off of, right?
Mm-hmm.
If someone's like, oh, look at this NFT, I own it. I'm just like, dude, copy paste. Boom, got it. Now I have it as my phone background.
But you don't own the fungible token on it. That's just a copy of it.
yeah. But
So?
like,
Yeah?
it's weird. I looked into it because I started researching crypto. But the one of the NFT issues is that it's a very dishonest way to make money, right? Because at first it was like not harmful, like haha, Too Mad said he's gonna lose weight, so he made an NFT of his left nipple and his right nipple, saying that's the last time you'll ever see him fat again. So buy the NFT. Like, sure, whatever, that's funny.
Yeah.
It got less funny when those pictures of nipples sold for like $4,000, but whatever.
Yeah.
But now what's going on is that artists are having their art stolen and posted as NFTs, right?
Yeah.
By separate third parties. Because guess what isn't an NFT? Literally anything on the internet that wasn't an NFT to begin with. Meaning that you can steal anything, say that it's an NFT, say that it's yours, and nobody can do anything because yours was the first one on there. It's basically whoever's... excuse me. It's basically a thieves gallery of whoever steals it first wins. And here's something that makes me extra angry. So people will know that, like, people know I'm Mexican, right? But they also know that I don't care about diversity, right? Like, I was never like, you know what? This show needs more Mexicans or needs more Asians. I was never like that.
I mean, unless it's like a show where it takes place in Mexico. Or
Okay.
It takes place, like, you know,
That is correct.
in the Southwest, right? It's
Yeah.
it's where the demographic is setting should be like more diversity. I think.
Sure.
Right?
Sure,
Yeah.
but I was never like diversity in the workplace. It's like I don't care. Like just hire whoever can do it, and no matter what race they are. So when it comes to like diversity preaching, it's like I get really annoyed if it's like done very like disingenuously, and this was done that way. The tweet, I'm reading verbatim from the real Stanley, from the grave. From championing diversity to embracing new tech, Stanley was one step ahead of the curve. To honor his initiative spirit, Stan's first Indian hero, Chakra the Invincible, debuts in his own NFT collection from 7:30 p.m. So not only are they disrespecting the man, Stan Lee, they're also using it to disingenuously like talk about, look how diverse we are. Indian superhero. NFT, buy it.
Number one, I'm looking at the photo right now. Number one, he doesn't even look Indian, right? He
Indians
looks like
can
all the other. He looks like a white presenting Indian, right? And the other
Indians
part
can
of
look
it,
how they want.
and the other part of it is that why does he have a Jewish like star with a circle in the middle?
Is that the Star of David?
Uniform? Yeah, the Star of David. Like it's the star. It's the two triangles, right? One facing up, one facing down, and then they just put a light circle in it. He just looks like Robin. He looks like Robin. That's what I'm saying. Like he looks like Robin, but I'm Indian.
Yeah, he's got Hawkeye's mask. No, not Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Nightwing,
yeah.
Nightwing, yeah.
Yeah, this looks generic as fuck, right? It looks generic as fuck. Does not even look like he's presenting as someone who of the ethnicity that they're trying to portray. And because you do understand that like a lot of people in India get really upset about like the whole skin whitening thing, because it's like left over from the British colonial empire. How people like even people in India, they sell skin whitening kits so that they don't look so
Really?
dark. Yeah, dude.
Gee, they
Yeah,
are
'cause,
they are a swarthy people.
Well, like the whole thing is that like he just doesn't look like it, right?
He doesn't.
No, he just looks like a fucking superhero, like a white superhero, but he has like the Star of David with a glowing circle in the middle. So what the fuck is this bullshit? Like I can see, I would if I was an Indian, I would be kind of like, yo, what the fuck is this? Who is this? I don't know this person. He doesn't look like Rajesh. Like I don't know who to talk about this, right? So, and it's one of those things of like, I think that I agree with you on the whole stuff of like cultural diversity doesn't really matter to me because number one, I'm white, right? So every superhero has been white before me, right? Unless like they've been specifically announced as this. And one of the big controversies is like forcefully diversifying or like diversifying characters that were white before. One of the bigger ones was like when the new Hellboy movie came out a couple of years ago. The character of the girl that's in Hellboy, she's Irish and she's got red hair. She's white as fuck. But then they made her a black girl from like, what is it? Some kind of small town in England. And I just remember kind of being like, well, okay, that's fine. Like, I don't really care. Like, it's one of those of, I had to kind of like think about it. I was like, is it right to change the source material? Is it right to have black people in a medieval fantasy? And you know what I came down to? It's fantasy. Who gives a shit, right? If you're writing a story, who cares? It doesn't really matter. As long as they act well and they know the character and know how the character acts, I don't really give a shit. And guess what? The girl in Hellboy did awesome. She played a fucking skeezy, like stealer and small time petty criminal really well. So that's what the character was in Hellboy. So I just don't care. But like, I'm looking at this Indian character and nothing about him screams Indian. Even his little chakra, like whatever the fuck is on his chest, doesn't even look like Indian at all. It just looks like what an Israeli person thought an Indian would look like. I don't care. This is just not, it's not good. It's just not good. Number one, NFTs are fucking scams. Number two, because this image is on his Twitter, I'm just going to copy paste and put it in my folder just as a big FU to whoever is running Stanley's account right now. And number three,
nobody should be.
You could have designed this character a lot better. Like a whole lot better.
On top of that, you didn't have to put it on the Stan Lee account. Leave this man alone. You could have put it on the
Marvel Universe account, right?
Make his own Twitter. Let Chakra have his own Twitter.
Well, it's probably because like no one is promoting it.
I mean, good.
No one's doing it, right? So I just don't know. Like I don't know. Like, but here's the problem. Like some of my favorite characters in like the Marvel Universe were not like white, right? Or we're not men. And so like I can't say that like it's one of those things of like as long as you tell a good story, diversity shouldn't be kind of one of the things. I think if you virtue signal this, right, then it's automatically going to have a lower quality to it because you're basically just being like, hey, you should buy our comic because it has an Indian guy on it. No, dude.
Absolutely.
Just make a good comic with Chakram, right? So don't just like fucking, whitewash him or brownwash him. Just make him good. Make him good and they'll like it. I don't know, man. That's all I have to say about this. And that's my take as someone who is in the mainstream, right? I'm not ethnic really at all. I mean, we found out that German. I'm Jewish. We found out that I'm Jewish on my mom's side, but you know what? Who fucking cares, right? That's not, it's basically white now. So
you do the Peter Griffin thing where you find out you're 1% of something, and then the next week that's your personality.
Well, here's the thing, right? Is that in Judaism, the only way that you're accepted as like a Jewish person is if your mom's side of the family is Jewish. And we found out that through genetic testing that I am like 3% Jewish on my mom's side, which guess what? Means that I'm 100% Jewish.
I'm honestly afraid of genetic testing because with ancestral history, there's like a 50% chance that I'm 100% Spanish.
Dude, 100. Yeah, like it's kind of a weird shit. It's kind of weird shit, but still, I don't know, dude. what's your take on anything that I just said? Do you agree or disagree with me on any of this shit?
I mean, for me, if a character has been like already established to be a certain way, then like changing them for like no good apparent reason wouldn't make sense to me, right? Because like sometimes, like most of the time, it doesn't matter if you do something with the character. Like for example, Zendaya as MJ in the Tom Holland Spider-Man. Like, yeah, that's not MJ. MJ canonically has always been a pale redhead, right? But no, it's not Mary Jane. It's Michelle Gordon. I forget, right? Oh, Jones. It's like Michelle Jones or something. And it's like a new character that referenced the old one. It's like, yeah, sure. That's nice. That's cool, right?
Yeah.
So
my
if
thing
you-
is that even if the established character was a redhead, but they change it to Zendaya, as long as Zendaya plays it fucking excellent, then who gives a shit? It's fantasy. None of these characters exist.
Yeah,
like
but
if you were telling
but it
me
has
that like
to be
George,
how I envision it.
okay, but if you're telling me that like George Washington was like a black woman, I'd be like, no, that's not true, right? Or if you're telling me like, oh, there were women fighting in the British Army in active duty in World War II, it'd be like, no, they weren't. Like, you're fucking awful. Number one, that's Russia. Number two, like, that's just not true. Like, these are real people, right? But if you have like comic book characters, they're not real people. Stories change depending on that stuff. It's like when we talked about God of War when Ragnarok came out, and like Loki's wife was black because, you know, and then people lost their mind. It was like, how are you gonna make a person black if they're in like Norse like stuff? I'm like, you do understand
should've been
that, like,
blue.
Norse people that like Norse people actually traveled to Africa, and there were some like Viking is just a fucking like job description. It's not even a fucking ethnicity.
I would love Viking to be on a job resume.
Well, Vikinger, yeah, Vikinger, because remember it's Danes, right? So you got to put an R at the end to describe the person doing it. So, like teacher, you're a teach. So I'm a teacher, because that's part of like how English adapted from Norse. But still, yeah, it's like when people get mad about like, well, you know, or like when those stupid white supremacist buckers that try to take over like Viking mythology and that kind of shit. I'm just like, yeah, they would think that you guys would make perfect slaves. And they would enslave you. Like, whoever these, like, redneck motherfuckers are, they don't understand that, like, Vikings would take one look at them and then just fucking take them on a boat and sell them to, like, Africa.
That's why I love neo-Nazis. Because it's like, bro, you think Hitler would be proud of you?
Nah, he'd be disgusted by you. He'd be like, dude, put these people on a eugenics program. They need to be sterilized. Like,
and no, Hitler does it nicer. He'd be like, hey, good news. You have won a lifetime supply of not circumcision. What's that thing when they snip your balls?
castration, dude.
You have won a free castration. Hey.
So when did he become German to Arab? Because he jumped accents.
I don't. I can't do accents, which is why I will continue to do them. I will continue until I'm good. And you know what? I'm gonna practice on our break. See you in a minute, ladies and gentlemen. And I said, forget about it. And that's. I don't know, man. I honestly.
I mean, that is the best. That is the best impression I've ever heard of Larry the Cable Guy. But whatever.
Welcome back, everybody. Turns out, if you want to do accents or be a talented voice actor, it takes a lot of training.
Well, it's because you gotta know, like how people position their mouth or how people say certain words or that kind of thing. Here's a little tip for you: if you ever want to learn how to speak like a Texan, right? You do the traditional Southern accent, but you slow it down, right?
Y'all.
So, yeah, it's like when you do the Southern accent, right? But you gotta slow it down a bit, because in Texas we don't really have much to say. We got all the time in the world, and you know that I'm right, and I'm someone sitting here doing it right now. Or if you're ever doing an Irish accent, the whole thing is like a lot of people over exaggerate accents. That's why they fail. You have to like tone it down a bit. You have to tone it down and make it like a little subtle, right? So if you were doing an Irish accent and you pronounce like TH, make it a D sound, right? And so instead of saying the with enunciation, you say D.
Yeah. Oh, sweet, yeah. Oh, speaking of which, new season of Sunny came out for everybody with cultured taste. Go watch it
yeah.
on Hulu. Sunny is my favorite show.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, well, speaking of things that are not finished, so there are 2 articles that I have. One of them is that Returnal, a game which is basically a bullet hell and a Binding of Isaac-like rogue-esque game.
roguelike.
Roguelike, yeah. So, according to an article by Xputer by Mohammed Namir Zia, according to a list compiled by How Long to Beat, which is a site that's meant to catalog your gaming backlog as well as inform you the average playtime of many games, Returnal was among the top 10 most retired games of 2021. Retired means people who dropped the game before finishing it. Returnal was number 6.
To be fair, roguelites are like notoriously difficult to finish. I've had Binding of Isaac since like 2013, and I still haven't beat. Well, I mean, I beat the game, but I haven't 100%ed it.
Yeah, well, the top 3 consisted of 12 Minutes, which is a story of like, you and your wife are murdered, and you only get to live through 12-minute sequences, and you get to try to like do different things, right? You try to find the combination of what would save you and your wife.
No wonder people beat it. It's a 12-minute game.
No, they did not beat it. They put it down.
They couldn't do 12
minutes?
minutes?
You have to do the exact thing every single time in order to get it, right? So if you mess up like even once, like if you accidentally press something else, right, then it fucks up everything. So you still lose. Or the whole entire deal is that it's like Groundhog Day, but you're trying to save you and your wife from dying so that you don't have to relive the same 12 minutes, every single time.
So all of you lovebirds out there, if your lover didn't finish 12 minutes, I'm so sorry.
What? Like it's the most retired game out there. Because people get frustrated because they're like, what am I doing wrong? Apparently, Back for Blood, a game that we streamed together, is also the most retired game, which is number 1. That's kind of true. We didn't really beat the campaign.
No, we did not.
It's like a worse Left 4 Dead, so still. But Returnal, hey, I can see it, right? Because the other part of it is that if you put the game into rest mode, then it would just kick you back into the start menu, right?
Oh, that's no fun.
Yeah, so Returnal was pretty much like fuck you. We're going to do whatever we want on this one. Meanwhile, according to HowLongToBeat.com, Resident Evil Village has managed to beat out its competition to become the most completed game of 2021. So, based on data submitted by users and potentially representatives of the world at large, Capcom's largest entry into the survival horror series was completed more than any other game this year. The second is Metroid Dread, while Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart took 3rd place.
And
so
I think I know why so many people beat Resident Evil 8 Village, and that's playground rumors. Did you know that if you
playground rumors?
Did you know that if you beat Resident Evil Village 10 times, you get to see Lady Dimitris in the bikini?
Well, you can mod it if you got it on PC, right? So you could do whatever you want.
Man,
but still,
technology ruins everything.
No, I think it's fine. But like, it's still, I think it's good. Like, one of the things is I played Resident Evil Village like 6 times. Like, it's one of those of like, how much am I missing? How much am I doing? And I found something new every single time.
I need more.
That plus what you can buy experience points that you get for killing monsters on like this little store after you beat the game the first time that gives you like unlimited ammo for an assault rifle or unlimited ammo for like a pistol. So I wasn't having to worry about like that kind of stuff. So I could go in and do it, right?
That was just an FPS.
Yeah. But hey, it looks fine. Like, it's Capcom made a gem, honestly. And, what can I say? It's a good game. Like, it is. And I can see Metroid Dread also being in second because Metroid fans are starving for content.
And there was also a playground rumor that if you beat it fast enough, you get to see Metroid in a bikini, which was actually true for the first game.
Yeah, 100%, right?
That was actually a real thing, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, but have you ever thought about, like, what is the most completed game of all time?
Actually,
what is
no.
the most completed game?
The
most completed
let me
game
guess.
is Portal.
Damn it. Well, I was wrong. I was going to say Odyssey.
No, Mario Odyssey actually has the most speed runs.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and then you also have the most backlogged, which The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. I don't know why you're backlogging this. Go play it now.
Backlog
It's so
means you
good.
want to play it, but you haven't.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you have the longest, the best rated, which is Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Game of the Year Edition, 95%. And then you have Half-Life Alyx with 95%, Bloodborne, 95%, Persona 5 Royal, 95%.
Damn, people beat that game? I thought that game just went on forever.
What, Persona 5?
Yeah, that's what people have been telling me.
Dude, if you want to do like 100% complete run, like it takes a while. I sunk in 200 hours into it, and I was just like, I don't know if I can play this anymore. I don't know if I can do it right now.
I can't.
Man. Like, it's fucking...
Just like
Yeah, I just...
the PS4 controller feels like 50 pounds in your hands.
Yeah.
You got calluses where the controller should be. Speaking of calluses, I recently went rock climbing, and I have a greater appreciation for Breath of the Wild now.
Yeah, dude, like, it's like the stamina bar, you're just like, man, the stamina bar is not short enough.
Exactly, yeah. So, rumors going around, but it seems to be from a more than it's a more credible source than your typical Twitter user. Pierre Schneider from IGN attended the Game Awards in 2021. According to him, he was able to catch up with some people in the industry, which either means like big shot Nintendo executives or he was buying cocaine. Anyways, he says that Breath of the Wild 2 is on track for a 2022 release. And although he has no idea when, he says his best guess would be November. Which honestly makes sense. This being... Because this ain't some like weirdo Twitter guy. This is Pierre Schneider, the guy of IGN, right? So he can't really just go around saying things that are completely untrue, ruining his reputation. And the fact that he doesn't know anything about the release window, I think that honestly gives it a little bit more credibility. But to be completely fair, Breath of the Wild 2 releasing in 2022 isn't such big of a stretch, right? Because also Nintendo wasn't at the Video Game Awards. And usually when Nintendo doesn't do something, that's because now we're doing our own thing. We got our own Nintendo Direct. They didn't do one. They did a Nintendo Indie World, which we'll catch up on with later. But before that, we got some more micro news. Sad news again on the Nintendo front. Nintendo Minute. Now, I'm not sure how many people knew these guys. But Nintendo Minute was like a mini show on the Nintendo channel with the two hosts. I forget the host's name because I'm a terrible person. But they would just talk about video games, and they just released their final episode. Nintendo Minute has been on since 2012, and I remember
they do a lot.
Yeah, I remember watching the New Leaf presentation with them. So we just hope the best for the host. Hopefully they can still keep working with Nintendo because, God, what a job, right?
Yeah.
Like, what a great job.
Like, you just talk about games. Like, it would be great to get paid for that kind of shit, right?
By Nintendo, no, like, you work at Nintendo. So we hope the best for them. And more sad news, for those who've played Paper Mario, you'll know what I'm talking about. For those who haven't, in Paper Mario, there are special attacks, right? Well, no, for every attack, there's like a special command prompt, a quick time event, that if you do properly, you can deal extra damage or something, right?
Right.
Turns out that in the Nintendo 64 version of Paper Mario, that you pay $50 a year for, it has frame drops that make it very difficult to hit the action commands properly. And can you imagine that? Can you imagine the Switch having frame drops on an N64 game?
Dude, no, because like the Nintendo Switch only goes up to like 60, right? 60 hertz. So that is awful. What are they do? What happened?
I don't know.
How did they do this?
And it's actively ruining video game. Like, it's actively ruining gameplay. So, good for you,
Okay,
Nintendo.
yeah.
You double up the charge on something that you're not even doing properly.
I know.
And for our final micro news, because we talked about rumors earlier, Bully 2 is another rumor, right?
Right.
With Tom
The
Henderson from Rockstar Games, right?
Okay.
And he tweeted about an announcement for Bully 2 that was planned for the Game Awards. But they decided, nah, we're just going to wait until the game is closer to being released, right? Which is something to look forward to because Bully, fun game. And a fun fact about Bully, when it came out, the UK was like, we have a massive bullying problem. I can't do a British accent. We have a massive bullying problem. And
Another great accent.
Thank
there
you.
You go.
And for that, they were like, no, you can't call it Bully. Change the name. So they changed it to Canis Canum Edits, which is Latin for dogs eat dogs. And it had it did absolutely nothing to the UK's rate of bullying. In fact, I think it's worse than ever now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. It sounds weird. I'm not sure because Canis Catum Edit was the Latin on the crest for the school, right?
Yeah.
So that's weird. I don't know how I feel about this. I never played the original Bully because my mom wouldn't let me, right? Because it had the word bully on it, right? And I was 16, right? So my mom was still like, "You can't play this game," and she never let me play anything Rockstar related, right? So
I only laugh because I relate.
yeah, but still, maybe I'll try it out like when it actually comes out. I just don't know.
Basically,
right?
GTA, but but at a university.
But at private school, right? So, I don't know. I'm still too head deep into Dark Souls right now, or Demon Souls right now to really want to try it. But I mean, it sounds fine. I have to be really in a mood to play Rockstar games. I really do. I still haven't played Red Dead Redemption because I'm not much into cowboys, and I think it's because I got overloaded as a young kid about cowboy culture because I live in Texas. So I'm like, meh.
Well,
right?
maybe you're like the spin-off of Red Dead Redemption, Yellow Feller Endeavor.
Yeah, where you just play what is it, a coward?
Yes.
So
And then
there you go.
And then the other one named Penny, and Blue Dude Buckaroo. I need a different word. Blue Dude Bamboozlement. I don't know.
I'm gonna let you sit on that one. You gotta write that one out.
Uh,
You gotta get a writer's room or something like that.
So
I don't know.
I mentioned the Game Award, the Video Game Awards. We already talked about that, but I also mentioned the Nintendo Indie World. And Stanley, do you have any last stories for us?
No, dude, I'm out. That's it. So just completed games and, apparently a voice actor for Bob's Burgers is getting kicked off a show. So
I swear there was an episode about that at one point where somebody broke into a government's house. But
I don't know.
Nintendo Indie World, I always love these because we love indie developers. All right, that's too broad. We like good indie developers that make good games. And as an aspiring developer, I always keep my ear close to the ground when it comes to this stuff. So I wrote down about most of the games. There was a lot more that I didn't write about. This is just what interests me. So up at the top, we got Sea of Stars, a classic RPG made by the team who made The Messenger. Have you played The Messenger, Stanley?
No.
I love
I've
that
not played
game.
it yet.
I love it so much. I love platformers. And The Messenger was just like, hey, remember Ninja Gaiden? Well, we made it good. So, gorgeous pixel graphics. It's a prequel to The Messenger. And special guest composer, the guy who made music for Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross, and Xenoblade 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like I said, they're trying to go for a classic RPG feel, similar to stuff like Chrono Trigger, and I can't wait because Sabotage Studios, the guys, the team making this, I just really like The Messenger. Next is Alicia, an asymmetrical co-op 3D puzzle platformer. And I'm all about asymmetrical video games, especially asymmetrical competitive games like Bowser mode and Mario Party 9, I believe, the one for the Wii U. As much as the Wii U sucked, being Bowser on the gamepad while everybody else was on the TV, fantastic time. Nintendo Land, Luigi's Ghost Hunt, Mario Mud Chase, all that sort of stuff. Asymmetrical gameplay is always fun. So Alicia, co-op asymmetrical 3D puzzle platformer. Locomotive. It's a point-and-click murder mystery on a 1930s train. And yeah, I saw the trailer. Super stylish, like really nice. You got 3 characters to play as, but they're also the suspects. And so you got to figure out who murdered the guy. And it's the debut title for Robust Games. So I don't really like point and clicks, especially on consoles. But after playing The Old Man's Journey, I'm like, excuse me, I've turned around on it. So I'm excited about Locomotive. Now, don't laugh at me.
Okay, yeah. That's fine. You grew up in America, right? Trains are not a thing here.
Trains are not a thing in the United States? I thought we were founded on trains.
Yeah, we don't really do that anymore. It's cars, baby.
After Love EP is an Indonesian rhythm game with heavy story elements about love. And a notepaper art style, like a notebook paper art style. Like, you ever doodle in a notebook?
I mean, not really. No. Why?
Well, the art style is reminiscent of that, and it looks really, really good. Made by the game group Pixelnesnya, featuring an original soundtrack from popular Indonesian band La Alfa Alfa. So, rhythm game with a heavy love story element with original music. And I honestly know nothing about Indonesia, and they were really pushing the culture, so I'm interested. Then we got Dungeon Munchies by Chorus Worldwide, a side-scrolling platformer with heavy Japanese mythology. And the main thing is you got to go in this dungeon, you hunt monsters, you bring them back, you cook them. I just love that idea.
So it's like Monster Hunter, but, you actually cook the meat that you kill.
It's more about eating than dressing. Monster Hunter is a fashion show, and I love it. We got Figment 2, made by Creed Valley, or Bedtime Digital Games. Oh, both of them, made by Creed Valley and Bedtime Digital Games. A puzzle adventure game that boasts amazing sound engineering and dynamic music. And honestly, dynamic music, it's a hit or miss thing. Well, no, it's usually a hit thing. But remember when Devil May Cry 5 had dynamic music, where the better your combo is, the better the music gets, right?
I have not played Devil May Cry 5 yet. I didn't have a PlayStation that was worthy of doing that. So I am going to actually buy that today, if I can.
Sick. So yeah, they have this dynamic music thing where the better your combo score is, the better the music gets. Like, as you're starting out, it's just like drums. You get a better combo score. The guitar kicks in. You get a better one. Everybody starts going nuts. And there was a game journalist, of course, who said the music sucks because they never got a good combo. God, game journalism is dead. Anyways.
Dude, game journalism is awful.
Yes.
Right? I mean, the fact that Kotaku misspelled Makoto Shinkai's name was a fucking, weird thing to have, right?
Then we got Let's Play Oink Games. Basically a Jackbox clone, but an emphasis on board games. And since I love Jackbox with all my heart, give these guys a shout out. Ending Extinction is Forever by Hero Beats. It looks to be a game similar to Limbo or dang it, what's their sequel called? Inside. A side-scrolling, dynamic platformer, except you're a fox, and you have to, bring your 3 kids along with you. And it seems to be a game with a big like environmental message, which we can all get behind. And I don't know, it just looked really cute. Beautiful art style. We got Ollie Ollie World by Roll7 in Private Division, a skateboarding arcade game. The world gives me Adventure Time vibes, right? It's like,
Yeah?
yeah, and here's the main character, Dog in a Bucket. And he's like, Arf, I'm Dog.
I'm Dog.
In a bucket. River City Girls 2 by WayForward Games. Have you played River City Girls?
No, but I wanted to.
I've
heard good things about it.
Yes, it's a very classic beat 'em up.
Isn't it like it's a beat 'em up, but like you're these two girls that like beat the shit out of people, right?
Yeah, so it's River City Ransom, but instead of being two beefcakes going to save their girlfriends, you're two girlfriends going to save their beefcakes, which is honestly the way they handle this game is very funny. So they're making a sequel to it. Can't wait for it. And that's all I have written down for the Nindies. Of course, there were other games there, but maybe not ones that caught my attention or ones that didn't have enough detail. But hey, we got games to look forward to, gamers.
Dude, I think the last time that I played an indie game was actually Celeste. And that game was really good. It was super good. Like, I think it actually beat out a lot of the top tier AAA studios when it came out. So, I've never played... I know it's going to make some people mad, but I've actually never played, what's that underground one where it's like old-timey RPG
Undertale?
thing? I can't remember. Yeah, Undertale.
Undertale.
Like, I think, what is it, like I had heard about it, but then, like, what is it, the fan base was a bunch of my students who acted really weird about it, too. So I was just kind of, like, turned off from it from the beginning because they were just like, oh, you're not a real gamer unless you like this. And I'm like, okay, well, fuck you, then I don't want to play it anymore. But I'm interested, right? But I got all these PS5 games to play because I'm almost about to beat Dark Souls, and then I'm going to go get Ratchet and Clank and Devil May Cry 5, and then I have Returnal, and then I have, like, a Bug Snacks coming on Wednesday. So obviously I got shit to play, right? And I got 2 weeks to do it.
So on the next episode, we get to talk about all your favorite Bug Snacks and how amazing they would taste.
Dude, Bug Snacks is like one of the weirdest yet wonderful games I have ever seen. And it's apparently super good too.
Don't even talk to me unless you're Bug Snacks. I don't want to talk about the news. I want to talk about human animal Bug Snacks. Like, that's... If you ain't Bungie, I don't care.
Bunger, yeah. Or if you're not a Strawby, then I don't want to care. If you're not Strawby and a Bungie ball.
Oh yeah, you're right. It is Bunger. I love Bunger so much. Have you seen an image of Bunger?
Yeah.
I love him. I want to eat him so badly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's so... Well, I mean, if you eat him, your hand turns to curly fries, right?
Bro, that's all I could ask for, because then I'll always have curly fries.
Would it hurt you, though?
I mean, right? I assume
not. Because if you ate your hand, that's hurting you, right?
Nah.
But I mean, this is a game for babies, right? This is like a game that's like Octodad, the creator of the horses, the game studio. What is it? Made Octodad, right? So obviously you can't really think too much about it, like the setting of the premise. You just got to go with the story.
God, I love Octodad so much. The entire premise. My husband isn't an octopus. Well, with that, I think we are done. Thank you, everybody. I have to continue my Russian lessons before Putin's ghost shanks me. He's not dead. He can just separate his body from his spirit.
Great. Well, we'll talk to y'all later. And I am going to go play Dark Souls or Demon Souls, so I'll see you.
Privyet.
Okay.
Does that mean goodbye?
Yeah, show? No.
Oh, damn it. Russian, you can go to hell.
Yeah,
no, Duolingo.
Because what you said was, because you just said "privyet," which is like thanks or like hello, right? Yeah, and so just kind of like hello, what, right? This is not Hawaiian, right?
Duolingo bird, you can go to hell.
It's do svidania. Do svidania.
Do svidania.
Yeah, do svidania. I want to show you. Yeah, you're right. Okay, see you later. Bye.
Bye, folks.
Bye, people.